Joel, two things. He said Canada has been tough to deal with these last few years. Honestly, I was not aware that Canada, they were our friends to the north. I was not aware that Canada was so
really
big of a problem, but apparently they were. Yeah. They're also our #1 purchaser of U.S. exports, which Donald Trump wants. They want Canada to buy more American stuff.
Yes, they do. Look, what triggered President Trump is the digital sales tax. That's when he decided he was going to exclaim, it's time to blow up our trade negotiations. And the digital sales tax, interestingly, hits the tech sector. People like Jeff Bezos, who apparently can't afford to pay more taxes, they have to spend it on their lavish weddings. And I think, this just goes to the core point, which is that there is no real governing trade negotiating philosophy here. We have the Liberation Day in early April. That kind of went south. Then it's Taco Trump. He says he's going to get deals now. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, says maybe we'll get deals in September, perhaps. I don't think there's any driving force or narrative that we can grab onto about what his trade strategy really is.
I can educate you if you'd like.
Please
so,
do.
Number one, we already have a deal with Great Britain. Number two, we're dealing strongly with the Chinese, and those conversations are where they are. Number three, all these other conversations are ongoing, and it's more than just the tariff rates. It's the non-tariff trade barriers that they're trying to get right. A lot of countries do things that make it very difficult for U.S. companies to do business. So they have put a lot of balls in the air here, and you can't deny the results. And even economists now, who are predicting gloom and doom, are having to admit, maybe, one guy even said this week, maybe Trump outsmarted us on this. And today, just today, the stock market hit a record high. So it seems to be working out, and the driving force is we're getting better deals for America, better deals for American workers, and we're not being taken advantage of anymore.
I haven't heard of a deal yet with the UK, and it's getting better with the markets because President Trump backed off on those onerous tariffs that he announced in early April.
Yeah, I mean, let me just play.
Positive,
I really don't understand the strategy of creating an enemy out of an ally. I really don't understand why the president is in Canada.
Yeah, why are they taxing us? Why is
the president in Canada a week and a half ago
why do we have to accept
at the
these taxes?
G7 and he doesn't get any deals done? There is
We-
no deal making going on. There's just pushing away our best allies.
Yeah,
Why are they taxing us?
I know. We were just talking about Canada. Trump is playing tough with Canada, right?
Yeah.
He's playing tough with Iran. He says to the Ayatollah, I knew exactly where he was sheltered and would not let Israel or the U.S. Armed Forces, by far the greatest and most powerful in the world, terminate his life. I saved him from a very ugly, ignominious death, and he does not have to say, thank you, President Trump. Okay, so hardball with Iran, too.
No kidding. Yeah.
Could it work?
Well, first of all, I have to say I did support the strikes, and I called it courageous. I think that it was the right move by the president. What I want to see him do now is lock it in and lock in a deal. Remember, we dropped a nuclear bomb on Hiroshima, and then we cut an armistice deal with Japan. We can do this, and we should do this. So I do think we should actually see this question about civil nuclear. Engage, see if it's possible. But with the Ayatollah there, as Scott points out, it's not something I'm optimistic about. But
is threatening him the right strategy? Actually saying, I'm going to kill you,
what it does is it undermines the prospects for Marco Rubio and his team and Steve Witkoff. God bless. They're going to have to go talk to the Iranians. I don't think the Iranians are going to be very welcoming right now. Whereas if you change the temperature, look, I don't know why the president has to gloat. This is the thing that's bothering me about this. The strikes were effective. They were necessary. Don't gloat about it. Pull back, let your team get in there and lock in the win. And that's where he's failing to see the opportunity.
And that's something I've heard from people.
We are going to have to go to war.
Ashley's right. I mean, I served in the State Department when we invaded Iraq. And the fallout, the repercussions of that, of the lies that sent us to war, are still with us today. And I think for the president and his team, they have a win. What they need to do is establish credibility across the board. So if we do have to go back in, if we do have to bomb again, then there's going to be credibility behind it, because at this point now, the debate has become very toxic and doubting whether or not the assessments are accurate. And I'm concerned about the doubt of the assessments. I do think we need to give it time to get the true assessment.
I think it's, again, okay, so Joel, I'll ask you again, as I did at the beginning, okay? If Trump's strategy is, as someone has put it, escalate to de-escalate, is that actually working here? Because it sounds like you think that it is.
I think it has the potential to work. I think that it is working in the case of Iran right now. if we lock it in diplomatically and take the moves that we need to. Let Secretary Rubio go out there, do his business. Let Secretary Hegseth work with the militaries around. Get behind the scenes. When the president gets out there, he loses the thread. And I'll tell you, this is a bipartisan situation. It's funny, reading the literature on this, we saw the bomb developed by President Obama. The actual plans to bomb Fordo were initiated by President Obama, who said we need to get plans on that site just in case. There was a lot of bipartisan support for this end state that we're in, and I think that he can get there if he keeps the focus on the goal of diplomatic achievements.
All right, breaking tonight.
I was thinking about this, like UVA was founded by Thomas Jefferson,
Yep.
right? The man who helped to lead our country away from tyranny, a man who believed in states' rights, who did not want a king to tell us how to live. And now here we have this bizarre irony of the American president acting like a king, telling a state-level institution who should and should not be leading it and what they should be teaching in it. This is sort of the modern-day form of tyranny against our educational institutions. And I think that we need to really protect our educational institutions as well. I'm very concerned, as a Jewish American, I'm also very concerned about arguments like DEI or anti-Semitism being used not to oppose those issues that they're concerned about, but to use it to blow up higher education and schools that really educate all of our country and make our society more whole. And this is just one more example. Thomas Jefferson, again, I'll say it, must really be rolling around in his grave.
You can't be.
Joel,
With the sip.
take us away.
And
What's going to be your food feature?
So the best wedding I ever went to was in Guadalajara, Mexico. So I would say like a tequila fountain would be nice, and mariachi's in the background. Scott, you've been to one of those.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, and always fun to be around Mexicans for
All right,
party.
Mike.
Well,
Your turn.
my wife's going to know this